These are my lovely mountains. Please do not judge my drawing skills. All right, so we have the water cycle. If you are teaching it using spoken English, you're going to just talk about it. You're going to explain how it works. You go from evaporation to condensation, the clouds rain, precipitation, runoff, and it's a cycle, right? If I was going to be teaching this using PSE, I'm going to keep that English word order. I'm going to talk about you have water in the ocean, and then it evaporates, and it goes up, and then it makes clouds, and then it moves over, and then it rains. That's called precipitation. And then when the water gets to the mountains, it runs off and goes back to the ocean, and then the cycle starts again. Each word has its own sign, basically. And not really all of it. There's a little bit that I've taken off, and for pure SEE, there's actually a sign for TION, so evaporation, precipitation. There's specific signs for that. I'm not doing full C. But for PSE, I'm still signing an English sentence, and I'm just putting ASL words to it. Whenever you get to ASL, it has its own visual aspect that PSE does not. Whenever you teach this in actual full ASL, you as the audience can actually see the water cycle happen. I'm going to try and replicate it again with index for the first time. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to be voice off for this. See if you can understand the water cycle. All right. Did you guys understand that? Did you guys see? Okay. And still some of you are new. That's fine. But did you see the water moving? Did you see that the water started here and then it evaporated and then it came back together? It connected, it started forming into a cloud, and then that cloud started moving, and then it started getting heavy, it started dropping, it started raining. There was a mountain, it came onto the mountain, and then it started coming down the mountain and got back to the ocean. You saw the water for the whole thing. You saw how it happens. Now, actual signs, yeah, I had a few that were thrown in there, but most of that is pure classifiers or descripting verbs, which there can be a whole separate lesson about classifiers, about how to use them. But the general goal of classifiers is to show an action happening, to take the place of something. So whenever I had my hands here, they started moving. That was the water vapor escaping from the ocean. And whenever they started coming together, that was again them coming back together. That's not an actual sign for evaporation and condensation and precipitation and runoff, but it's a visual aspect. That is the goal of ASL. It is a visually accessible language. It is not based on words. Which leads to the next thing we're going to talk about. A lot of people, whenever they ask a question about how do I sign something, my first response is, what's the sentence? What's the context? A lot of people will go to Bob's experimental world and look at the vocabulary board, and they'll get confused, and it's not their fault. We're trying to fix this problem. It's not their fault that they see a sign and then try and use it in a sentence, and it's completely wrong. It doesn't fit. That is because ASL is not a word language. It is a concept language. Whenever you have your C and your PSE, you are still basing it on an English sentence, and that this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. Whenever you have ASL, it's painting a picture. You're showing the story as it happens, not telling. And I know that like many writers have the same thing whenever they've been taught how to write a story or a novel or whatever. They say show, don't tell. That's the point of ASL. You are showing what happened. I'm not telling you what happened. I'm going to show you exactly what happened. All right? Okay. Well, that erased all those. Oh, well. All right. How many of you know the sign for this word? Just raise your hand if you know the sign for this word. Okay. Can I get one volunteer? Show me the sign for this. Okay. A lot of people do this. Some people do this. So there's different signs for it. So let's use it in a sentence. All right. So he ran far. If you're going to do PSE, you're going to say he ran far. Each part has a sign. If I'm going to switch to ASL, it's going to be this person ran far. I'm going to show that he's running and it went a far distance. I'm not showing ran far as two separate signs. I'm taking run and making it move a far distance. This is playing with the language. This is how you get to that ASL skill, is you learn the concept that you're trying to show. Now, how about a different sentence? How would you sign that? Is this person actually running? Are they jogging for office? No. This is one of those multiple meaning words. This is why you need to know the concept behind it. So the actual sign for run for office is this. Mm-hmm. This is also run like running a machine. Like I'm going to go run the printer. run. It's a different concept. It is not C or PSE where I'm taking an English word. It is where I'm looking at what is actually happening. What is the story there? And then matching that sign. All right. One last thing I want to teach about. Let's see. If I could type. All right. Close enough. All right. So this is one of those things that I think a lot of people will actually like catch just from learning sign. You'll probably notice a commonality and try and figure it out, but I wanted to clearly show what this means. So it's called a job marker. It shows that that is a person who does that thing. So if you have teach, you know the sign for teach, right? Right? Teach. I'm taking information from my head and I'm putting it out into somebody else's, right? How do you sign teacher? Teacher. You take a sign, some sort of verb, some sort of action, and then you add this sign to it, and it means a person who does that. It's basically the ER of English. So same thing. Work. Going to work. Doing work. Then I have worker. All right. But again, it's a person. But what if I have this? Do you know the sign for print? I think you got it. So you take a flat open hand, the other hand, we're going to. Gosh. If you know the real life sign for 20, the number 20, you're going to do that on your hand. It's kind of hard and awkward to do in VR, but that's the sign for print. How do I talk about a printer? Like that's attached to your computer. No, so I'm seeing different answers. Okay. If we add the printer, the job marker, that means that's a person who's doing printing. A printer is not a person, it's a machine. One person said print thing. It's close. That's actually closer to what the sign that I use. So for me, instead of a job marker, I'm going to say print machine. Or print and show what it looks like. Okay. I just wanted to clarify because I've seen some confusion with this about what the ER means. I want to clarify that it means a person who does that job, not just any word in English that has an ER on it. That does not mean you get to add er. Okay. As a tangent of that, real quick. I wasn't planning on this, but it kind of is important. All right. You know the sign? cold, right? How do you sign colder? Few of you got it. So whenever you're using ER as a comparison, the most common way is to say it's colder. Like it's higher up. It's more intense. And I realize for like colder, typically that's a negative thing, but it's trying to say this one's better. So it's colder. You can also, one person, you can say, you can compare the two by saying, oh, this is cold, but this is colder. You can compare the two. But I wanted to clarify that whenever you see an ER and it means comparison, again, it's not It's not, it's compare. Anyway, I wasn't planning about that, so I just kind of like messed up that part of the teaching. Anyway, all right. So those are the things I wanted to like actually talk about today. Those are like my soapbox things I wanted to talk about. Now, I want to know if you guys have any questions that I can answer, anything you want to talk about, anything you want me to discuss, any signs you want me to show, anything like that. If you guys want to, come on up. You're more than welcome to turn on your mic now and actually voice, whatever. Bring them on.
How'd you
Yes.
sign?
Oh. Okay. Oh God, you were saying like, for itself or that thing, like you were doing this. How am I correct on that? I wasn't picking up itself or themselves.
Yes. Okay. So that's another quick thing I can show. I'll just type it. All right. So you guys probably already know about the difference between me and my, about showing possession. Like this is you, this is your, this is me, this is my, that's them, that's theirs, right? So there's another part of that. It's itself. So if I'm going to do it myself, you take a fist with your thumb up, kind of an A hand shape, and you tap it on your chest. This is myself. Okay. If you're going to do it, I'm going to say you're going to do it yourself. And you point. You don't actually touch the person, but you point in that direction and tap. Tap twice, right? If I'm talking about a thing that's not actually physically here, then I'm going to use this as a classifier to say this is that thing, and it's going to do it itself.
Okay.
It's a surrogate for an actual person.
Okay.
And again,
I didn't know it could mean it.
Yeah. This is it, the thing, and it's going to do it itself. And I can also say like this person, it's theirs. If I'm like talking about a person, I can say, oh, them, it's their thing, it's their proficiency. This is a surrogate. All right. Polly Swift, I think you had a question.
Yeah, I just missed a sign for machine. What was that again?
Machine, this is another one that's kind of awkward to do in VR. So in real life, you would be taking your fingers in a kind of a claw hand shape, and your fingers would be spread out. You would mesh them together and go up and down. It's supposed to be like cogs in a machine. All right. Any more questions? Yes.
Can you explain the difference between like and like? Because I see some people using it wrong.
Wouldn't like and like be similar to like saying same for like, and then like love you for like or something?
feel like I spelled that wrong, but I don't know, so I'm gonna leave it. All right. Yes. So this is again back to our like multi-meaning words. So if somebody says like, and somebody asks me what's the sign for that, I'm going to ask, what do you mean? What's the context? If we're talking about you liking a person, liking a sport, liking a game, liking a food, something that you have a fondness for, something that you enjoy, it's going to be like. The way I remember the sign is it's grabbing your heart and pulling it in. Uses the middle finger, which I can't get without the rest of my fingers coming with. So it's going to
something
go from
like
a
this.
flat hand forward. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's it's going to go from your chest in front of your heart, pull it forward.
Yeah.
It is also the same with the sign for interesting, because it gets your heart and your head, and both of them get pulled into it. So that is a sign for like. I like something. As for like as in saying two things are alike, they're the same, they're similar, it is going to be using a Y hand shape. And if you are on a avatar that has the rock and roll, same thing. But in real life, you would be using a Y hand shape, and you're going to slide back and forth. You're saying this thing that I'm pointing to with my thumb, and this thing I'm pointing to with my pinky, they're the same. They're similar. They're alike. And now technically you don't actually have to like point your thumb. Be very awkward signing if you did that. Trying to point your thumb and your pinky at the same person. It's just saying this thing and this thing are alike. Clear?
So can you
Alright.
say that as like if me and someone have a similar thing? So it's like same, I guess. Like
Mhm.
it's similar
So
or
as like an example, I can say, so me and Chris both enjoy playing Phasmophobia. So we are alike.
oh
So
okay.
I point
so
to
then you would just
me and then him. And I say, I basically draw an invisible line between us saying that me and him are the same. And this goes
Okay.
back, I can go ahead and expand on this. This goes back to playing with the language. Like I can say me and him are alike. I can say me and him are the exact same by over exaggerating it. I can say that we're like kind of alike by just doing a little motion. And of course you can't in VR, but in real life you'd have your expression kind of showing that it's like scrunch up your face a little bit, kind of frown a little bit. I can say that everybody is all alike by including everybody in the sign. Everybody, we're all the same. Yeah. That actually leads to another thing that I think it's a good benefit I can teach you real quick. So I feel like I spelled that correctly, but it looks wrong. Okay. Something
It
that
was
is
correct.
ongoing. Thank you. Something that is ongoing, something that is continuous. There's a way to sign an action that shows that it keeps going forever. It is to move that sign in a circle. So if I'm going to say like stay, so that's taking a Y hand and putting it down. I'm saying this thing stays there. If I'm going to say it is just staying there forever and ever, I'm going to move it in a circle. Say it is just still staying there. It is still going on. It is still a continuous action. You can do this with a lot of different signs. My brain's being stupid and not letting me think of any right now, but I know I do it all the time. Yeah, my brain's being stupid. But if you guys find a sign that it fits, oh, wait. So if it's like a short wait, we're just going to do it once. If it just keep going, we're going to go waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
What about continuously working?
Working and working and working and working and working and working. Thank you for giving me ideas. Thank you. I appreciate it. Again, my brain is being stupid right now. I appreciate your help. I appreciate class involvement. Fearless. Tomorrow, like future, like keeps going on and on and on. Yeah. So that one I would do more with future. So if we're going to say future just once, something happens in the future, will happen. If I'm talking about like way in the future, I'm just going to keep going on and on and on and on. Like it's gonna eventually get there.
And I'm assuming it can also be similar with the past, going farther into the past.
Yes. So past, I can do a little bit, or I can do it happened long time ago. Yeah, again, it's one of those like playing with the language things. It's how you show, don't tell. All right. Any other questions? Anything else you want me to touch upon? Anything else you want me to teach really quick? Reaper. Your avatar is black, and I'm really like like it's blending in with the like shoulder pads. Contact? Is that what you said? Contact?
Context.
Context. So is like asking the sign for context? Okay. Sorry. This is one thing that I still struggle with. I am like fluent in sign, real life. I come to VR and I still, after being here for almost 2 years, I still go, I'm sorry, I don't understand. But hey, if you see me still having to go, hey, can you ask for clarification, all that, you guys should feel perfectly confident in saying, I didn't understand. Can you do that again? Anyway, yes, the sign for context is you're going to have this person or this thing. Then you're going to take the other hand and you're going to go in between the middle and the ring finger, put it on there, and wiggle it around, like spin it around. We're talking about all the things that happened around this person. What is the context that this thing is in? Cool. Fearless.
So it kind of talks about continuous, like how you can kind of express that, like continuous motion. What about like the sign for sometimes? How you can express like, happens really often or really rarely, just by the
Right.
motion of how you use it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do that real quick.
Like what other signs could use that type of style of expression?
All right. So a lot of people know the sign for sometimes. We're going to take this, and this is going to be happening every now and then. It's just going to go in a circle saying, yeah, sometimes, right? Now, if we're going to say it frequently happens, it happens a little more fast. It's like, happens. Still goes around. We're going to do rare. We're going to exaggerate it and say it takes a long time before it comes back and happens again. Right. This is one of those things that it's got one sign, and you show how often it happens. All right. Other signs that have examples like that. It's kind of almost in the same exact like family of vocabulary. Often. So we're going to take the flat hand again, and we're going to take like a slightly bent hand, which I'm unable to do. So I'm just going to do a flat hand. We're going to do often. It's kind of like again, but we move forward as we touch. So often. right?
Try doing
it happened-
I think O hand. It might help you get a C.
No,
Or like the two O hands, like the when it's two flat O. Sorry.
yeah. I mean, so this
So,
is,
yeah,
this is
it-
pretty
it-
close. Again, I'm
yeah,
playing
it-
with a new index.
Yeah. So if you like try and do so your middle finger is so your index finger is slightly touching the trigger, and then you have the
Mhm.
other three like going
Yeah.
yeah. It's tricky, but
Okay.
it can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you
Alright.
combine the
See,
three
I'm gonna have to
fingers,
practice.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
It
so
takes
there we
a
go.
while.
That's
Yeah.
pretty close. But yeah, so we're going to be a slightly bent hand. It's not like your thumb's not going to come down. It's going to stay up. We're going to go. The second I move it, it goes away. But we're going to go often. It's going to tap. It happens again and again and again, which that's what often means. It happens again and again and again. If I want to say it happens super often, I can actually skip the bouncing and just touch and like swipe forward. Like it happens so increasingly often that it's not even like really coming up. It's increasingly often. It happens. I don't know the English word for that. More than frequently. There's an English word for it. Anyway, you
Common.
get the concept of it. It is showing, not telling. It is showing how often it happens, not telling you how often it happens. Any other questions? Any other vocab? Any other specific questions? Anything? No? Think we're good? Stellar? I couldn't tell if you're just like resting your hand or... Okay. All right. Well, cool. Thank you so much for coming to class. If you guys now, we will go and we will take our picture. So if you go out here and go to the photo button, we're going to go up to the roof and take our class picture.